card. he's a,
Maybe if you
he
can pass
chooses.
the mic to...
It's not my fault.
Yes.
It's him.
And
Okay.
then we'll go to that side after.
Hello. All protocols observed. I almost called you an adjudicator, imagine. Host and you yourself, sir, thank you. Guests from all over Africa. Once again, all protocols observed. I am Rizani Kenny Romate, and you know, I'd like to say something, it will be quick. When Haile Selassie went to Jamaica, I think it is, I don't remember the year, but there was a huge drought in Jamaica. And there was a prophecy about a man who will bring something to Jamaica. And when his plane landed and the door opened and he stood out, one of the greatest things in history of Jamaica happened. Rain started to fall. Now, there is a way in which people can look at such a man. He's a fulfillment of a prophecy. We have had many great people come to Africa, and many people who are intellects and many other people who are very respectable come to Africa. But we shall only ask one question. Are you coming with the rain, or is the drought going to continue? And I'm asking this because we are seated here with I believe, one of the most inventive generation that the world has ever seen. There is nothing that will make you more creative than poverty. And I correct you, there's nothing that will make you more creative than poverty. Because if you can survive it, come on, you can make it. And having that kind of attitude, now for us, I'm in the social tech space, and I'm actually, this kind of technology.
I listened to you before when you asked.
This is what we're actually working on. And we answer that thing of critical mass, because what you're looking for is critical mass.
Absolutely.
Everything is already available, but how do you answer the thing about customer engagement, critical mass? That is something that has to be studied, and that's something that I've put time and dedication to do. My question is this. With such technology that we have, that answers the social benefit of things, is there a working relationship? Are you the rain that is going to come to this place where we are saying that there is an increasing and a growing economy? Because more than anything, we need the rain. We have no lack of invention, but we need the rain. Meaning that we need people who can carry us to greater heights, because we already have the ideas, we already have the practical solutions to it. Mm-hmm. And one of this is this one, if I might just add this. So we built something on top of our platform called Verify. So what Verify does, my phone is failing me. So what Verify does, it says this, because we reward people for social good. So when they partake in community service, they get social points. We can trace each social point. So per company that comes and sponsors, they can be able to trace where they ran to their last dollar, where it went. They can be able to see their impact and follow it up on a social media platform. That is the benefit of working with a small company like us, you know? And that says traceability to the core. And with this Verify system, one thing that we're trying to do right now, and unfortunately we do not have the relationships, but you have the relationships. And this is why I'm saying, are you coming with the rain? Now you have the relationships, we have the practical know-how into how to engage the people, especially on an African context. Now, the thing that we're trying to do with our Verify system is connect the corporates, their products, so that whenever people can go and buy, they can actually get discounts when they buy using social points.
That's the incentivization part. Yep.
Exactly, because already the social points are money converted into a cryptocurrency. So when they do that and they scan that barcode, they can get a discount. And we can get whether this is a valid or not a valid product. And with that, we send a geolocation. So we know the valid authorizers of products and many other things. And this is the Verify thing that we have. I'm asking this for the last time. Okay. Are you coming with the rain?
Well,
thank you.
I don't think are we coming with the rain that's giving us way too much credit and power. But there is a genuine intention to help and solve a problem. Patrick knows it. This has not been an easy journey. We have been relentless. We have not given up. I've invested my own money into it because there is no support on it massively, because I do believe that it will happen one day. We are not shy at all in cooperating and building alliances and creating interoperability, quite in the contrary, for as long as it serves the purpose of, and that's our single focus, empowering people to make better, safer choices. Whatever we can create in interoperability, in partnerships for that to happen, we will. So glad to continue the discussion for you and see how we can build that interoperability. And yes, we need ultimately the help of innovators and disruptors like you, so that people walk into a pharmacy and to say, if you cannot prove to me that this is a legitimate product, I'm walking out of here. And that's what's going to wake up the industry. The day they know somebody is going to adopt it and to say, I will give that piece of information to patients. And all the ones that will know, will not do it, will be the losers, and that's how things start changing very, very quickly. I don't think we're changing anything dramatic for the industry. I don't think we're taking any sensitive information. I don't think we're disrupting the industry. We're asking them to work together. But until people start asking for it and elevate the problem, it is not happening, and it's not going to happen. So, yes, absolutely. But are we the rain? No, I don't think so. We're just trying to do something that is worthwhile and has impact.
It's a shower.
A little shower.
It's a shower.
I think.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'm really interested, and it was an intriguing session. My name is Doris Marley. I'm from Tanzania. I'm a marketing technologist. I hold a bachelor degree in computer science, and I love designing solutions. We own a platform called Mama Mia Soko. It's an online marketplace that offers online and offline sales to vendors. So we come as an aggregator for SMEs, women and youth. We have over 1,000 SMEs in Tanzania, and coming to the AFCFTA is to duplicate the same model and to allow cross-border trade. Now, my question is, and my interest, can we have these codes, the application online, so that I can prove the product online before I buy it? Because from the talks that you are talking here, it was indicating a physical product. But if it is possible to verify online on digital platforms, that would be very powerful for us. That is one. Two, we are suppliers of self-service kiosks in Tanzania also for a company from China. I work with the Sovereign Payment Solutions, a subsidiary for Tanzania, the headquarters in Mauritius. We have self-service kiosks that can scan barcodes, QR codes, they can make payments. They're very powerful. We're supplying them to the banks, hospitals, and we've been talking to insurance companies so that they can be put at hospitals so that customers can check their balances of the credit in their health packages. So this will be strategically located. If the application can run on kiosk, that means we can add value into the services that you're offering with the kiosk. The question being, can it be deployed on Android kiosk? That's second. And thirdly, affordability. If I have a customer, my vendors are my customers, who sells a product at $1, $2, and I'm trying to make sure that even with a $2 product can also cross-border. That's why we are here to organize logistics. What is the cost that they will have to incur to have these products? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll try to answer everything. If I don't, help me out, Patrick. So first of all, can we have the codes? Can we have access to codes? We would never do something without the permission of the brand. If we do this, we're dead. It's never going to happen. So whatever technology the brand is using, the brand needs to give us permission to use that. And it starts with the barcode and it goes all the way to the unique identifier. We don't want to use we could use online resources and existing resources, even for the barcode. At least for the moment, I refuse to do that, because the moment you do that, you allow the infiltration of questionable products and barcodes into the system. For me, at least in my head right now, I need to be able to always go back to the original owner of the product, manufacturer of the product. And
Define that so that you can answer it properly. Our vendors have GS1 barcodes. They have their own barcodes registered.
So, yeah,
and the
so-
system can accommodate barcode registration. The question is, can you now integrate, can we integrate with you for verification? That is the question,
Okay,
but they
so-
already have barcodes.
I think I understand the question, but let me, I think I can say yes, absolutely. When it comes to the affordability, I would be tempted to say that we live in a world today where unique identification is no longer an economic burden on a product, even on the cheapest product. That used to be the case 5, 10 years ago, where solutions cost 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, and more even. That obviously doesn't work on a $1 product. We have been working and we have been looking at solutions in all ranges, because if you're talking about a $100 product or a $1,000 product, that's one problem. Again, if you're looking at a 20 cent, 50 cent, or $1 product, it's something else. There are solutions that exist today that cost a fraction of a cent. They might not be. If you look at the level of security, the layers of security usually that we used to talk about is overt, is what you can see, semi-covert, covert, that you can't see anymore, and forensic. And there are unique identification solutions which go through all of these levels. It's great if you can afford it and if the product can afford it. And that's why I said earlier on, I think a brand needs to make, not just for the brand, but for every product in their catalog, what is financially and what is technologically viable. Because it's also, some of these sophisticated solutions are not always easy to implement. It's easier to implement when you convince the government to impose it, but that's not always fair on the brand. Or at least I don't think it's fair, but that's a different dialogue. But affordability exists, and integration is possible for as long as the legitimate proof of ownership of the identifier can be established. I think I'll leave it at that, and I think the rest we can discuss bilaterally.
And I think just because she was just mentioning as well, if it's verifiable online, if that can be added to
Again, it's,
the layer
yes,
when
but
people
that's
are
why I
buying.
said we wouldn't do anything that a brand doesn't authorize us to do. If you control the environment, the brand says yes, and that's a solution that the brand accepts and that the issuer of the identifier accepts, then yes, absolutely. But you have to respect the brand, because if you don't have the buy-in from the brand, we cannot do what we're trying to do. It's going to be, the result is going to be mediocre, unfortunately. You have to build critical mass of products, and in order to build that, you need everything. You need the small, the lower cost products, all the way to the FMCGs that are being distributed on the continent. And you have to respect the issues that the brands have with that, but I think that we can find a common term and acceptance of what can be done, so you can still, I'm sorry to be repetitive, empower people to make better, safer choices.
Thank you very much. My name is Rex Osumafo. I'm from Ghana.
I'm sorry, but there is something speaking in the
My
thing
name
there.
is Rex Osumafo. I'm from Ghana.
Pleasure.
If I understand you well, we need to understand that all these counterfeiters, they are always ahead of time. They are always ahead of the curve because there are most counterfeited products that are also, they also have barcodes and stuff. because they want to look legitimate in the eyes of the unsuspecting consumers. And just like what you were saying, the drug issues. Recently in Ghana, this is my own experience. I was prescribed an antibiotic. After I took it for 1 week, I realized that this thing is really not working.
Well, you're lucky.
So I decided to take one and send it to a lab. Then I realized that actually it's a chalk.
Yeah.
Yes, really packaged. And then the indication says it's from Bayern or something like some of this.
Bayer.
Yes, you know. So this is a very, very serious issue, and I like where you are coming from. We cannot solve this problem on individual small companies basis. It must be dealt with on AFCTA's level so that anybody who wants to operate within this market must comply, whether it's a small product or a bigger product. In terms of economy of scale, this is how the cost can be dealt with, whether you are a smaller company or a bigger company.
Yep.
And just like you're saying, this market is yet to be built. It is easier to incorporate some of these things within the infrastructure and the structure of the whole system, rather than to finish building the market now. It becomes a segmented kind of system. So I kind of endorse what you're doing, but second question, how are we going to be sure that the system you are suggesting can itself not be counterfeited?
Okay, well,
Thank you.
that's a very good question. And coming from the industry in the past of anti-counterfeiting, I would say it's impossible. You will never create something that is 100% impossible to replicate. In the same way that the guarantee of security is not given. You can put your military services around this building and something can still happen. So I think it would be naive of me to say, is there the 100%? Never. And you're right about that. And I think that is the big fear of the brands. I mean, what if we play the game and then somebody says, but I verified it, but at the end it was, not every solution is copy-proof. But how can you identify copied codes that circulate on a market? It's not by keeping it a secret, it's by going towards mass verification. And that's how you can take action. We can put as many disclaimers there need to be on this solution, but we have to get from 0 to 60 to 70 to 80 and start working on that. And I agree with you, that has been the initial, we have an agreement with the AFC-FTA. The initial desire remains for them to be able to impose that. But if there is anything that we learned from the last 2.5 days of discussions, is that imposing something on a continent of, even in one government, but yet alone in 54, 55, is, again, let's not say impossible, but it's a very lengthy process. What will differentiate it is if one brand says, my product, you can verify, the other one is going to follow. Because the moment you don't have the option today, and that's what I'm saying. Did we think we needed an iPhone 15 years ago or whenever it was, 12 years ago? No, nobody thought we don't need this. Today we can't live without it. Nobody thinks that we really need this today because we're doing fine. You're all alive here, right? You didn't get any medicine that killed you. Until you have an option and you can actually differentiate and you know that you do not have to continue, sir, taking an antibiotic for a month and nothing is happening to you. And thank God nothing happened, because something bad could have happened. We had the story of somebody that is close to us in the business, whose sister-in-law died, they found out in the autopsies later, from counterfeit cancer medicine. So that gentleman has a completely different attitude on the discussions that we have than those that haven't been affected. But you really need to wait until you're affected? I don't think so. We're smarter than this. So, yes, I agree with everything that you said. There is no perfect solution, and there will never be a perfect solution. Brands will always shy away, thinking that there is liability behind, but there are legal ways to solve that, but something needs to be done. I think that we can agree. And that doing nothing is not exactly the best option to move forward.
Oh, thank you, Hans. And I think there was a few more hands on. Please.
Good day. My name is Ada Tela. I'm from Botswana. The managing director of Zoe Diamonds. What we do is we offer diamond manufacturing services. I have two questions. The first one is twofold and more general, and the second one is more specific to the industry that I operate in. All right, cool. So the first one is just how important is the issue of uniformity of standards as well as governance and legislative framework governing products within an industry, like regardless of what product it is or which industry you operate in, how important is uniformity of standards, industries, principles, legislative framework, and governance insofar as pushing the AFCFTA is concerned? All right, cool. So the second question is more specific to my industry, where it becomes sort of difficult to push this policy forward within other regions of the country, of the continent, where, for instance, they don't know about KPCs, Kimberley Process Certificates, to authenticate the origin of the diamond, or they don't know about tracer software to be able to trace the product itself from mining to jewelry. And also, how do you address the issue of synthetics versus natural diamonds, where synthetics are becoming more popular and there isn't really, I'd say, updated technology to differentiate a synthetic lab-grown versus a natural diamond? Thank you.
Interesting. There's a good movie that just came out on the subject between synthetic and natural diamonds. I hope you saw it. I think it's called Nothing is Forever or something like that. And obviously a lot of criticism against De Beers, but it addresses this exact issue. But first on the uniformity and standards, yes, uniformity and standards is fantastic when you get there, but it takes a lot of time. And you are, as I was telling Patrick, I hope I don't offend anybody, but when I hear the comparisons between India and the continent and what India is doing and the continent, it doesn't make any sense. India is a country. You're 55, so that doesn't work, and it just adds so much complexity to it. Yes, we want to work, and I think one of the worst things that I've heard in discussions with, and it happened to be a pharmaceutical company, that actually said it in the presence of the AFCFTA, we're working in the EU on some of the solutions, why don't you wait and then you can adopt the same? Well, that insults me. I don't think how much it insults you. It should insult you a lot for a whole range of reasons. Let's not go too deep on that, but that's not how you treat the problem. So while you want to work towards uniformity and standards, as I said before, for a brand to, at the end, have to live with 55 different standards, that is a nightmare, and it's a costly nightmare. But you don't have to wait for that. As I said, there are solutions out there that you can implement right now. And it's not even solutions that you need to adopt, it's solutions that you already have deployed. The fact that that code is on a pharmaceutical product or on a pack of cigarettes and you as a consumer do not have access to it, for me is the exact equivalent of somebody taking the safety belt off your vehicle the next time you bring it in for a service and lock it in and say you cannot use it anymore. I don't want you to. And if you fly through the windshield the next time you have a little fender bender, Well, that's not my problem, because I don't want you to use that seatbelt anymore. And when it comes to pharmaceuticals, somebody that distributes or manufactures fake pharmaceuticals, for me, is at a lower level than an arms dealer. Because at the very least, an arms dealer, when you buy a gun, you know what you want to do with it. But when you walk into a pharmacy, you go there because you want to get healed, not killed. So let's not wait for the standards and the conformity when you can already address the problem to a decent degree right now. But I couldn't agree more with you that ultimately that's what we're going for. This is what the AFCFTA, I think, will give you, and this is where you're going to get at. But let's not wait 5 years or 10 years until we get there, when you can start having an impact, economic and human, right now. When it comes to the traceability of synthetic and in the case of diamonds, yes, I think that a lot can be done. And if there's one thing that I learned from the research recently, is how much, since all of the, I think over 95% of the diamonds are, how do you call it, shaped in India when they do the
Cut.
the cut. Yeah. So, and apparently, that's at least what I have learned, there is a huge amount of either synthetic or conflict precious stones, diamonds, that infiltrate the system while the certification is being made. So you end up actually with a certificate, and you can end up with a certificate of a diamond that is a lab-grown diamond, and the certificate says it is a flawless natural diamond, but you could also very well have a fantastic certificate for a stone that comes from a conflict area saying that it's not. And let's not go into the details of the technology, but yes, technology can easily address that. In the same way that we can have an impact on counterfeit products, not in a year from now, we can have it in a month from now, for as long as there are two things: the willingness of the brands to work on the issue and political will, because you need a little bit of both. But if you have both, you can have an impact in weeks and months and not in years. And we can talk about the diamond issue a bit more, because it's just a matter of being a bit creative, how to change that.
Hello? Okay. Yeah. My name is Tami Sebusi. I'm from APEC, Agricultural Produce Agency Council. I'm the chairperson there. We're in the agricultural industry. And then what I didn't hear you talk about was, it's like, for instance, whatever you've discussed, I get the picture that product integrity and traceability need to be adapted at least per product or maybe per industry. Like, I'm from the agricultural sector, and the product integrity and traceability that we're looking at is not necessarily for counterfeits, but to prevent diseases and also to prevent theft. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for instance, nowadays, we've got auctioneers around the country. We've got agents around the country who are selling animals on behalf of product producers to the consumers. And these consumers, to other businesses. Like for instance, who are selling to feedlotters. Now feedlotters, they don't want to buy animals from these agents or from the auctions, because it is difficult for them to trace the origin of these animals. Because at the end of the day, you're a feedlotter, you bring in an animal that you don't know where it comes from. It ends up spreading diseases amongst your flock. It can affect more than 3,000 head of cattle. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very big loss for a feedlotter and also an abattoir. So I just want to find out whether you have any experience in implementing this in the livestock industry, and how did it go? If not, are there any plans to implement it in the livestock industry? Because it is the topic as we talk now in the agricultural department, but it's not yet finalized. Yeah. Maybe you can come up with a solution for us. Thank you.
So The answer is yes and no. We consider ourselves rather creative when it comes to that, but we're not the ones, again, we're an aggregator. We aggregate what the industry adopts, and we eliminate the fragmentation problem that comes from all these different solutions of tracing anything, from white livestock to grains to everything, to final products, packaged products, medicines, FMCGs, and so on, to eliminating that fragmentation and putting it into a single window where you can access the information that you need to access. So, do we know about livestock tracking and how that then translates all the way to, in the case of meat, into a final piece of meat that you find at a supermarket? Yes, we know of. We can exchange that. And these are solutions that can easily be integrated. The beauty about that crypto key that I mentioned very early in the discussion is that you can put, particularly when it comes into the sustainability and proof of origin of products, all of that can be built in. But usually the big organizations, their supply chains departments, they have some of it already. It's about making sure that we understand where can we hook in so the information that the brand or an industry is willing to share is shared appropriately. I know I didn't answer all of your questions, but yes, we are not a security solution provider, we are an integration of security solution providers, and we know of security solution providers that work on the particular subject that you have expressed.
So basically, yes, we can find a solution to the livestock issue. So I think I'll take the last question from the lady in green.
By the way, just one thing. We came up with a report on the state of the illicit economy, just to summarize a little bit our thoughts. I have a few printed copies here that I'll put on a chair here, and you can take. And then I have, we didn't want it to cause too much damage to the environment, so I have the QR code link to the report for those that want it digitally. Maybe what I can do is just, I'll give you a stack, and if you can hand it back, and then those who want, they can take one. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. So thanks, Hans. It's been really informative, your session, and a lot of it really resonates with me because I work for a health insurance company. So much of what you're saying around counterfeit drugs or vaccines, not knowing where to get the correct kind of information on making sure you're ingesting the correct products is a huge deal for us. So I should introduce myself. My name is Jessica. I work for Vitality Health International. It's a subsidiary of a company called Discovery. Discovery is a huge financial services firm. Very passionate about health insurance, but most importantly about wellness and making sure that we basically reward our clients for living healthier lifestyles. So please stop smoking on the right. But most importantly, I think one of the things that we're trying to do is to basically inform some of our members about some of these challenges, because we also will get calls into our call center saying, doctor prescribed me particular medicine, I've gone to XYZ pharmacy in Accra, sorry to my Ghanaian brother, and it's not working for me. So how can we integrate with companies like yours to be able to spread that information and give that information to our client base and to help run campaigns with doctors, even kind of providers? Secondly, when people do find these counterfeit products, is there an option for them to report to say, look, this is a fake?
Yes.
Whether it's the product itself or where they got that. Okay, that's great, you're nodding. And then the third aspect is, does this extend to fitness devices? Because we do a lot around fitness devices and linking those to our app and kind of rewarding you for using, going for 10,000 steps. And then when we had a phone call with one of our suppliers, they were like, oh, we don't actually sell any devices on your continent. And I'm looking around going, but there are hundreds of thousands of them here. So we actually couldn't integrate it into our app officially because these are grey devices. So that's a huge issue for us as well. So does your coding extend to being able to track fitness devices and other medical devices as well? Sorry for all the questions. Thank you.
Everything very interested, and I didn't touch upon some of these areas because sometimes I feel like I don't want to give the impression that we are all over the place, but I have to admit that our views and creativity definitely is all over the place. So I'm not sure in which order I'm addressing the issues, but that ability through the data that you're generating to see our products are showing up in a place where we don't sell them, that's one of the core. And it's a beautiful one because you don't need a security code for that. You just need somebody to enter the name or to scan a barcode of a product for you as a brand, because the information that's collected about the brand is owned exclusively by the brand. You cannot sell Coca-Cola information to Pepsi or Pepsi information to Coca-Cola. That's not going to happen. So they own the brand and the rest is anonymized, but you would know my products are showing up in places where they should not. What you mentioned, what's interesting, is where this could go, particularly on a continent where you have that level of creativity and innovators. The data that you have, we see that that could be the basis of a whole range of services. Let's just talk about vitamins and supplements, highly unregulated. People love taking it. When they get to a certain age, like me, you think that some miracle is going to do something and it doesn't work. But the reality is, when you take too many of them, you're causing potential damage to your kidney. You might be taking something which just has absolutely no sense. And the fact that, the simple fact, if you look at e-leaflets of medicines, vitamins, and supplements, when I tell the system I'm taking all these 3 supplements which are going to turn me into Captain America, and they're not, they can tell me, look, you're taking too much magnesium. That usually ends up in the bathroom, or you're taking vitamin C levels which are unhealthy, and so on and so forth. All of that information of verifying product can then be used in a fantastic wealth of options and have real advantages for patients. You can go deeper then and into more serious levels, and not just the vitamins and supplements, where it can guide you and say, look, at your age, that particular profile, that body that you have, I mean, maybe you can go more towards here or there, again, with all the disclaimers that are necessary, but there is artificial intelligence, which is growing very, very quickly now, but you need data. And if you get that data, I think there is enough creativity on this continent, I think, to do some really cool stuff and very interesting and useful things. Did I answer all of them, or is there one missing? I always downplayed a little bit, but I never had an integration issue with anything. Even the most complicated solutions that we integrated back when we were at customs, it works. I mean, it's just, that's what there are smart engineers out there that come up with the solution. But also, let's not forget, all of the security solution providers that work with brands, they are very smart people in there. And as I said, they usually have the APIs already, these application protocol interfaces, and they make sure that the brand keeps safe and that our data keeps safe. And that's the part that upsets me the most, is that it's all there, basically. We just need to agree on what to do. Integration has never been a problem with anything that we have done in the past. Thank you.
So, thank you. I think it's a good way to finish the session. I think definitely you've all heard we're here to really make Africa safe again, and we have that opportunity with this AFCFTA, which I think can really define generations along the way in terms of making sure we don't have the tragedies that have been happening in the past few years of people consuming fake products especially, and that people that have been dying in all across the continent, and that it can't happen, and I think, as he was saying, and I've been very shocked to know that people actually do these fake medicines, fake baby formula. I think everybody that has children knows what that can do to your child. So thank you all for
Thank you very
listening
much.
to
Thank
us. I know we were supposed to be more, but I think you've heard, and we're more than happy to work with any of you, and I think there's some good conversations to be had.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, see you around.
Feel Thank you very much. Thank you. And my email is very simple. It's hans.schwab@original.com. So it's Schwab. SCHWAB. Yeah, yeah. SCHWAB. And if you have the link on the, I think on the card that circulated, you can get to me. I'm very open to get questions and recommendations, and tell us also, look, you're probably doing something wrong here and there, so feel free to email us. We really love to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, and I got a bag.